This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring former FBI Special Agent and Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke.
Chad Daybell trial, it is continuing on, and we're learning more and more about Chad's interactions with Lori, his magical powers that he apparently has over Lori, about being protected and unprotected, and if only she sent him an emoji, could he restore her powers? It's bizarre, just as bizarre as it sounds, and it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Joining me to discuss, Robin Dreeke, retired FBI special agent. Yes, emojis to restore power. What are we dealing with here with Chad? Is this someone who's just like a master manipulator, although it's not very mastering saying send me an emoji, or is this someone who's really believing that they have these sort of powers?
I'll say yes to everything. And, Tony, this is one of those humbling moments in life. I was wrong. I thought that, Lori was the big manipulator in this one, and she's a charismatic cult leader. And then I saw this text string from him, and I'm like, oh, no, he's into it, too. This is a 50-50 crazy partnership here. And as soon as I read that text string that he said and trying to manipulate her, I'm like, that defense that I hypothesized they were going to try to do with throwing her under the bus and him being this kind of mope and dope along the way, that totally undermined the entire thing. He is completely complicit, equally, if not more, with her just because of that behavior, and that because of what it looks like in front of the jury. This is a needy individual that was trying to service his own needs above the welfare of everyone in their lives. So it was abhorrent, no doubt.
It's interesting saying, I want you, nothing else matters. It very much shows intent here of, okay, well, I guess even the kids' lives really don't matter either. It's disturbing. What do you think? What is his intent here? Is it just to have Lori all to himself? Is that the ultimate end game for him? And knowing that she's just dumb enough to go along with things like texting emojis to get some sort of power back? Was she like easy prey for him, do you think? Or what is going on here with this behavior?
Yeah, I really, like we've been saying, I think that they were easy prey for each other. He didn't have the ability to do anything except come up with crazy, kooky ideas. There's my scientific technical terms of, and the books he put out that were garbage, and he couldn't provide for himself. And so then along comes her, who's a master manipulator herself, who has a string of deaths following her and weird, off-putting behavior, who's also extremely insecure and needy. And both of them apparently have this high level of psychopathy. Again, I'm not a licensed clinician, so I can't, didn't administer the test, but they both seem highly emotionally unavailable for anyone else but themselves. They didn't seem to care whatsoever about anyone else's lives. They rationalized both together, apparently, the deaths of everyone around them to do the only thing they could do for their line of work, and that is collect insurance money.
Yeah, that is true. That's what their goal seemed to ultimately be, was to get that money and just run off and be together with no thought to what the consequences to their actions could possibly be. If you're investigating this, before you know everything about Chad and Lori Daybell, but you're getting text messages, you're hearing some of these conversations, no arrests have been made, because it did take quite some time for them to get arrested while their children were missing, and you start to see this sort of behavior in someone. What are you thinking as an investigator? If you don't know that the kids are dead yet, but you're seeing this delusion stuff of the texts and powers and this or that, are you thinking these two are a danger, or are you thinking they're just really kind of wacky people?
Well, anytime you have missing individuals, especially children, and you have a lot of unhealthy behaviors, you know exactly where you're going to be focusing, and you're going to start going out in concentric circles from there. So immediately law enforcement was looking at these two. I guarantee they were, because That's the first place you're starting. And what you're doing is you are eliminating people from a pattern of what's happened in the past. And this is what profilers do. And this is what you do when you're profiling, is that, based on science, research, and past experience, you kind of have a decent idea about where to start looking and interviewing and assessing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're doing is you're eliminating the standard types of characters, if possible, from that circle. And you're diving deep on some of these individuals, background, social media, everything you possibly can to see if it fits that pattern. And these two fit the pattern. I mean, you and I have covered this before in other cases. If we have children involved and there's a murder and there's a custody battle, you know exactly where to look. 99.9% of the time, you're looking at the other person on the other side and the family members of the people on the other side, because most of the time, if there's a child custody battle going on, it's the other side that is involved in some way with the disappearance or the murder or whatever it's going on. And same thing here in this situation. You have two children that all of a sudden go missing. And the only two people that are not cooperating and responding to law enforcement are Chad and Lori. Mm-hmm. Where do you think you're going to start? So that's where you start with the investigations. You start there and you start peeling back layers by interview. And ways you get to who to interview is then you start taking a look at social media, their social networking, people and individuals, the people that they involved in their minor cult that they had. I'll call it a minor cult because they both failed, thankfully, in the one area that cults do. And we've said it before. They did not isolate the people inside of their cabal of crazy well enough from public view. And that's the only reason why other cults last longer and do a lot more damage. And can you believe it? A lot more damage than this.
Yeah.
But there are worse.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.